Good evening, I'm Bersatu Michael and you're watching Kini News, the show that brings you today's biggest stories. At midnight, RON 95 and RON 97 petrol will go up by 7 sen. Looks like you still have time to fill her up. Moving on, it appears Anwar's chances of becoming Prime Minister. How do I put this? Let me just let Dr. Mahathir explain. Dr. Mahathir Mohamad and his band of supporters have reiterated their support for Warisan President Shafie Apdal to be their Prime Minister candidate in the event the current Perikatan Nasional government loses federal power. Mahathir, in a statement co-signed by his son Mahathirs, Mua MP Syed Saddiq Syed Abdul Rahman, Simpang Renggam MP Mazli Malik, Kubang Pasu MP Amiruddin Hamzah and Sri Gading MP Shahruddin Saleh said they have decided to adhere to the final decision in June to name Shafie as the Prime Ministerial candidate. He noted although the Pakatan Harapan Presidential Council has named Anwar as the Prime Minister candidate, that does not involve him and his friends from Bersatu and Warisan. Mahathir said their faction would adhere to the recommendations made as a result of discussions between him and the leaders of Warisan, Amanah and DAP on June 25th. The proposal was for Shafie to be chosen as Prime Minister while Anwar and Mahathirs as first and second Deputy Prime Ministers. Mahathir and the other MPs said they would sit with Warisan as an independent bloc in and out of Parliament and would not join any existing combination. In the statement, Mahathir also said they will stick to the core of their original principles, which is to reject the return of a kleptocratic government. 6 Al Jazeera staff were summoned for questioning at Bukit Aman today, and they were only released after about 5 hours. Here's more on what happened this morning. It was a gloomy and damp Friday morning in the nation's capital as 6 people behind Al Jazeera's contentious documentary entered the Bukit Aman Federal Police Headquarters. They are being probed in connection with the network's 101 East program, which highlighted the alleged mistreatment of undocumented migrants by Malaysian authorities during the movement control order. The 6 Al Jazeera staff were accompanied by 7 lawyers led by Hisham Teh Po Tiak.
I want to emphasize that Al Jazeera will cooperate fully with the police investigations. That's why this morning you see a number of journalists together with legal counsel has come to Bukit Aman to have their statements recorded. And I'd like also to inform that before this, Al Jazeera has also written a letter to the Honourable Minister for Security and Defence about this episode, and at the same time they have also issued a press statement.
Hisham also read out portions of Al Jazeera's statement, which emphasised the Qatar-based outlet's commitment to ensure fair and accurate reporting.
Refutes these charges and stand by their professionalism, quality and impartiality of journalism. You all are journalists. You know it's important to portray and report what is fair, what is accurate and what is balanced. And this was done by Al Jazeera.
The management of Al Jazeera last night said it stood by its controversial report on undocumented migrants in Malaysia and expressed concern over the online harassment its staff were facing over the documentary. This was a point Hisham touched on during the press conference this morning.
Because security is a main concern, it's a main factor. I will not be able to reveal the identities as well, who are inside, again because of concerns of security. In fact, I would like to go further and say a police report has been lodged because the staff felt threatened, and it was lodged yesterday.
Since the airing of the documentary, Al Jazeera staff have had their personal details revealed online, raising concerns over a privacy breach and other forms of harassment. Aside from the Al Jazeera staffers, the Immigration Department is now tracking down a migrant interviewee in the documentary. The report had angered the government, which denied claims of racism and maintained that the handling of migrants was done according to the law. A DAP veteran quit the party today in a very dramatic press conference. However, the party's leadership still hopes she'll change her mind.
I have asked you to take down my bunting. It is very sad. It's very painful. I have no choice. I still support DAP.
This was the scene at a press conference today where Rahang Assembly Person Mary Josephine Pritam Singh announced that she has quit the DAP. However, she intends to stay as a Pakatan Harapan friendly representative and will continue to support the leadership of Negeri Sembilan Menteri Besar Aminuddin Harun. The two-term representative made the announcement after allegedly being repeatedly sidelined from the party's decision-making process. The party veteran is reportedly upset with the decision of the state leadership not to endorse her choice of chairpersons for the village committee management councils announced by the state government on Wednesday. After 46 years in DAP, she will also be resigning from all party posts.
So you resign all the jabatan from the DAP, right?
Yes, I resigned as NEC, there is Wanita National Organizing Secretary. National, then I'm Vice Chairman Pakatan Harapan, Wanita, and National, that is National, and State, I am the Chief, DAP, and Deputy Pakatan Harapan Committee.
DAP's Organising Secretary Anthony Lok responded to her resignation at a separate press conference several hours after Mary's announcement. He said after working with Mary over the span of several years, he was certain that she would not jump to Perikatan Nasional. He also urged her to reconsider her decision and retract her resignation letter.
So there is no reason to quit the party just because of that. So we serve the party, we join the party for a cause, not for any individual. So with regards to any displeasure with one another, that is, I think, it's normal in any organization. And in political parties, of course, there are a lot of differences of opinions within personalities. But it's something that we have to manage. We cannot just quit the party just because of one single individual.
Anthony Kevin Marias was brutally murdered in 2015 and today justice was served. 6 people, including a former pathologist, were sentenced to death today over the 2015 murder of Deputy Public Prosecutor Anthony Kevin Marias. The verdict was delivered by Justice Azman Abdullah following the conviction of the 6 accused during open court proceedings this afternoon. Azman ruled that the defence failed to raise reasonable doubt in the prosecution's case and that the prosecution succeeded in proving its case beyond a reasonable doubt. Speaking to reporters, Kevin's brother Richard thanked the police for their swift action.
I would also like to say a big thank you to the staff of team of PDRM Bukit Aman for catching the culprits in such a short time. Today, after 4.5 years of stress in waiting for justice.
And today justice has been served very well and been given, and all the 6 of them, the OKTs, have been convicted for murder. And thank you very much, and I think he is quite pleased with the outcome of the case. And thank all of you for coming in.
A total of 84 witnesses, including 14 defence witnesses, have testified since the trial began in April 6, 2016. Accused former pathologist Colonel Dr. R. Kunasegaran, as well as R. Dineshwaran, A.K. Tinesh Kumar, M. Viswanathan, S. Nimalan, and S. Ravichandran were alleged to have murdered Marias somewhere along Jalan Dutamas Raya Sentul and number 1 Jalan USJ 1/6D, Subang Jaya, between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. on September 4, 2015. Charged under Section 302 of the Penal Code, they face the mandatory death penalty. Now let's take a look at the country's latest COVID-19 situation. We went from 0 local cases to this. After 2 consecutive days of reporting 0 local cases, the Health Ministry reported 5 local transmissions of COVID-19 on Friday. This is on top of 8 imported cases, bringing the daily total of new cases to 13. Of the new local infections, 3 were Malaysians and 2 were non-citizens. The Malaysians were 2 Sarawakians with a severe acute respiratory infection, while the third was an individual in Kuala Lumpur who tested positive while being screened to return to work. The 2 non-citizens were immigration depot detainees who tested positive on a second swab before deportation. Meanwhile, there were 12 recoveries today with no new fatalities related to COVID-19. On a separate matter, Health Ministry Director General Dr. Shafie Apdal revealed that the MIAB's COVID-19 low-risk treatment and quarantine centre in Serdang saw its last patient discharged today. Coming up next, while Malaysia reported double digits, the US reported 5-digit increases. If you thought 13 cases were high, wait till you see the numbers coming out of the United States. The United States reported 60,500 new COVID-19 cases on Thursday, a new record increase, and the second day in a row infections have risen by at least 60,000, according to a Reuters tally. The total represents a slight rise from Wednesday and marks the largest one-day increase by any country since the pandemic emerged in China last year. For a third day in a row, US deaths climbed by more than 800, the highest level since early June, according to the tally. As infections rose in 41 of the 50 states over the last 2 weeks, Americans have become increasingly divided on issues such as the reopening of schools and businesses. The Dallas Morning News reported that a group of bar owners in Texas had sued Governor Greg Abbott, a Republican, saying his June 26 order closing them down violates the state constitution. Orders by governors and local leaders mandating face masks have also become particularly divisive. The surge has forced authorities to backpedal on moves to reopen businesses such as restaurants and bars after mandatory closure reduced economic activity to a standstill in March and April and put millions of Americans out of work. The United States has reported more than 3.1 million cases in total and over 133,000 deaths from the virus, making some Americans hesitant to return to public spaces and patronize businesses, despite President Donald Trump's efforts to downplay the risks. Authorities spent hours searching after Park Won-soon was reported missing by his daughter, but when they found him, it was too late. One of South Korea's most prominent elected officials, the longtime mayor of the capital Seoul, Park Won-soon, was found dead on Friday. This comes after his daughter reported him missing at 5:17 p.m. local time, saying his phone was off and that he had left a message, quote, like a will. Hundreds of police took part in the hours-long search, utilizing both drones and dogs. The Seoul Metropolitan Police Agency said the mayor's body was found at Mount Bugak in northern Seoul around midnight, near where his phone signal had last been detected. The agency did not give a cause of death. A police official told reporters there was no sign of foul play, although a detailed investigation would be needed. The Yonhap news agency said a former secretary of Park had filed a complaint on Wednesday over alleged incidents of sexual harassment. Police said an investigation was underway after a criminal complaint had been lodged against Park without elaborating. Formerly a prominent human rights activist and a lawyer, Park had been the mayor of Seoul since 2011, pursuing a slew of policies promoting gender equality. Park was also instrumental in its response to the coronavirus pandemic. He also played a vocal role in massive candlelight demonstrations that contributed to the ousting of former President Park Geun-hye. He was seen as a potential presidential hopeful for the Liberals in the 2022 presidential elections. And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. We'll be back with more next week, same time, same place. I'm Prasad Michael. Thank you for watching.